Yeah. Must be okay though. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? As we get started, I'm going to break down a few things for you. As I know some people come in late, it's difficult to manage schedules. I imagine that, but I am going to ask you in the beginning to take note. To tomorrow night, we'll be kicking off our development training night. If you're ever going to get to the point where you can develop a team, so you can grow one, right? Developing leaders so you can grow a team. You got to learn how to develop you. We have to get down to it. What is this idea of mental fasting and actual growing skills, developing the things needed so you can have a strong business? You're going to find that out tomorrow night. So make sure you're here with us. And tonight, unlike last night, I'm going to pause to chat in case I'm missing something because I need to have my focus. I'm trying to establish the type of rhythm that I typically would have in a webinar. And so what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make sure I don't break free of my visualization with you rather than looking down and trying to find out which window the chat's in. It causes this breakup in content and continuity. I want to make sure that we have that down. So I will pause, and then at the end I will actually go through and chat with you as I did last night. Lastly, as I break things down tonight, I'm going to walk through and just remind you that if you missed last night where we talked about this idea of going back and fighting for it, recognizing who you are, some things you were born with, right? What you can do with those things are all about preparing you for what you're going to learn tonight in this idea of prospecting. It doesn't matter what company you're with. It doesn't matter if you're with Ingreso Cybernetico or other companies or Ingreso plus other companies. It won't matter. The principles work the same for all who use them. So now, as I say that, it's already past the top of the hour, and I want to make sure that there is no question in what we'll be talking about and what opportunity exists for you tonight. My goal is to teach you and to train you in this idea of how to prospect and recruit. Yes, everybody, when the whole world's telling you should join when they say there's no selling and no recruiting, right? One thing about lies is they're often sensationalized so that you can't really, on a normal day in your sober mind, you'd recognize that it's a lie or a scam. And one of the reasons you can't is because of the sensationalism around it. When someone shows you a check for or a deposit of $200,000 over the last 3 or 4 months, and you see that, and they tell you you can do it, you don't even have to recruit, you don't ever think twice about the fact that they're actually trying to recruit you. If they say there is none, it's hard to put that together. So we're going to put some things to rest and let you know that not only were you born and already have a lot of what's needed, you just are lacking a few things that you need to develop. One of them is this idea of how to actually close a sale. I'm fortunate. I come from a generation of being trained under Zig Ziglar, being trained under the Mark Victor Hansons and the Jim Rohns, Jeffrey Combs, Jerry Combs. There's so many people, Danny Johnson, who didn't come out and say, you don't have to do anything, just pay. The lies began and become very intense around this idea of big cryptocurrency. And it was needed to do because most cryptocurrency companies that launched out around 2016 and 17, they launched without a product or anything. They just only had money passing. So they had to sensationalize to get everyone involved. You just pay, you make money every day. You're going to make back double, and you can put back in after you make back double. You put in one, they give you two back. Now, in any other world part of life, you'd recognize that if you empty out more water than you're putting in, you're going to run out of water. If someone's paying out 2 for 1, mathematically, you know it doesn't work. You can tell yourself, or they can tell you that they're trading, even though there's no way to verify. There's just some things that are absent that made it easy for you to buy into this concept of no selling, no recruiting, just give me the money, send it to this address or click on this link. We want to get you past it. Because if you are going to be able to grow a strong financial fortune, a foundation that you leave this legacy for your family, the way to do it is you do like the rest of us had to do. For years, we started off, and there was no magic videos overnight. You click on it, you open up an Instagram account, you're just going to get rich. No one said that to us. They said, you got to learn it. You go get this book. You go read The Secrets of Closing the Sale. You go get this prospecting and closing by this person. You go get it. You go to seminars. We had to go and learn, and it wasn't overnight. But what we walked away with is a skill that says no matter what company we're with, we can succeed. Isn't it interesting that of this new crew of the last 5 to 7 years, a person has to chase the success they used to have? Oh man, back when we had this company, it was great. I was in it. It was, man, I was at the top. So now they join things and they keep dragging the same people with them who have followed them, but they can't find it, and those people can't find it either. You can get past it. So I don't want to dwell on that, but I want to let you know the layout of the land of why we're having this specific training tonight on YouTube Live. So as I prepare to get started, I want to make sure I can say hello, and I'm going to pause right now before I get going, and we're going to kick off. How are you guys doing? Type in the number 1 if you can hear me okay and see me. I'm not good at this. I prefer a webinar. I like to see the people at the exact same time. I don't want to go clicking to find a chat link. I don't want to do any of that stuff, right? But I need to grow and develop. Over the last 5 to 7 weeks, I've been doing all I can to master YouTube Live. Next is Facebook Live. I can't wait to get there. I'm practicing it on this specific YouTube account. Yes, we have another YouTube account with thousands of people, but I need to do it. I need to practice right here with you. And as I master it, I hope that it's a benefit to you. Typically, I do these things. I usually charge for my different trainings. We're going to do this together. You deserve to experience and to learn all you can so you can build a real fortune that doesn't go away just because a company goes away. So you can recognize when something's here temporarily or not, or if it's going to last. So, all right, let me go ahead and say hello to you guys. And I don't like this because I can't really see. I have to get away from my screen where I can see if my camera's working fine. Okay, good deal. Always good to be here and see you guys. And until I can get into my office back in Colombia, where I can have my other screen and everything already there with the chats, and also have my team with me chatting with you while I talk. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Last night we talked about knowing who you are, right? Getting to the point where you recognize you were born with it, you already have it, you were conditioned not to use it or have it, and what you could do with it. You get that fight, you get that drive back in you. With that drive, it should fuel what we're going to talk about today. It is prospecting, closing a sale, having a sale. If you want to do it just because you have a pretty page, trust me, I don't care who tells you that's how you build a long-term fortune, but it's not true. Did you know that the wealthiest people in the world sell? The wealthiest companies in the world sell. Why would someone try to deceive you into thinking that you're going to become wealthy without it? Here's what you should note. One of the things that Microsoft does so well is they sell licenses for their software. You pay every year to renew it, right? You can buy their Skype. You can get a version of it where you can pay and get phone numbers. You can buy Xbox, but they're selling it to you. You can actually get buy the Adidas emblem, right? You can be a receiver, right? Someone who buys it or someone who sells. They make a lot of money. You can go to the airlines. They sell tickets, right? And what's interesting about it is they don't deviate from the value proposition. What happens is in our industry of home business, we creep into it thinking that we can bypass and deviate away from things that are necessary to sell. And the only way to do that is successfully is to tell people you don't have to sell. Now everybody wins. Well, truth is you all lose if you fall for that. Does it make sense? If it makes sense to you, type in number 2. The idea is we've got to get you back to basics so you don't deviate away from the principles needed for that success. So in this value proposition, there are standards that must be abided by. And the standards are the ones I just talked about. If you look at the different sellers out there, right? If you look at Sony, who sells records, sells PlayStation, they sell as many as they possibly can. If you look at the Walmarts, Amazons, you look at the big boys, they sell. Facebook said for years, we don't want money anywhere near our platform. But after the first 5 years, they said, you know what, now we can sell some ads. And they sell lots of advertising, just like Google does with YouTube and Google, right? Bing, Yahoo, they're sell. And if you're not selling, you're buying. And if you're only buying, you're certainly not building wealth. You're spending money, right? You have no assets that create money by making sales for you, and that's why we're here tonight. Value proposition standards. We're going to take a look at the first one. The first standard that I want to discuss with you is when to discuss the price. The time to discuss the price is not a second before you presented the value. Not a second. If you go back to 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, if you've ever heard me present an opportunity, you'll note that I don't do what you guys do. I don't start with a price. I don't allow price to come into the equation until I presented the value, because it's a standard. Now, I learned that in selling. Those of you who are taught you never have to sell, the reason people never sign up with you is you always lead with price. You can get started. It only costs $300. You can do this, you can do that, blah, blah, blah. You throw up on someone with out of order. When things go out of order, they can't work for you. They become chaotic. So the first standard is you never ever discuss price, even if someone's asking or begging before they've seen the value. It's so interesting. Now, I've been married for 32 years, but when I was single, I couldn't have gotten away with trying to meet someone, right? And not ever discuss any value of my life, but just, I want to know how much they make, right? If they'll go home with me and be my wife. I can't jump to that. You can't skip steps. You can't deviate from that. It's interesting how we treat our own businesses with the lack of respect that we don't give our life. And here's what I want you to know. I don't care if someone begs you or not. The answer is no. What I have is so valuable, I'm not going to cheapen it by trying to throw you a price at you. You can buy a price from anywhere. You don't need that from me. One of the reasons you don't have the confidence for selling is you don't know who you are. The other thing is, the reason you can't present value and have confidence because you don't know what you have. You know what you have in name, some of you. Yeah, we got these autoresponders and some page makers, stuff like that. You don't know what you have. You can just rattle off a few things. You don't know what you have. Which, when you logged inside, I've clicked here now, and I tried to get you guys to learn what you have. Go inside. See. Apply yourself. In my generation of home building a business from home, we had to go make it work. Interesting thing, companies didn't give us web page builders. We didn't have autoresponders. I'll never forget it. I had to go and learn new skills every day. I had to go learn this thing called web marketing magic. That way I could send email messages to my subscribers when people opted in. Oh, but I didn't have a page. I had to go buy a system called Front Page, then Dreamweaver. Build a page. I had to learn all kinds of skills without this. Then to top it all off, there was no webinar systems yet. There was only conference call. I had to go get my own conference call bridge and learn how to talk on it, set it up, answer questions, mute people, make them live. We had to do things, but we actually enjoyed earning our money. We didn't get upset because we didn't make money magically. We enjoyed earning it. We knew we worked hard for it. We worked while others were sleeping and playing. If you're going to learn how to sell and not do any work and not learn any skills, you're not really going to learn how to sell. You're going to keep doing what you've been doing. And you don't need to be on a webinar like this for that. You don't need to be here on a YouTube Live for that. The standards. When to discuss price. You discuss price after you presented value. You can't present value if you don't know what you have. If it takes you a whole month to learn what you have, going inside out of every product. If it means you got to get help from support. If it means you discover something is not working, something's broken, you need to fix it. Whatever it means, go do it. That's what we had to do. Except we didn't have the privilege of having it in the same company. I'll never forget. I didn't know anything about membership sites. I just knew I needed one. In 2006, I launched the Gold Membership Club. I charged $20 a month, but I didn't know anything about it. What did I do? I stayed up all night, day after day. I was just going and learning all I could about it. So when I got my first 2,000 members paying me $20 a month, Most people say, ah, yeah, you're lucky. It's because you're... No, I'm not lucky. I worked my butt off for it. That's $40,000 a month and $20 a pop. It wasn't rocket science. I had to build it up. I had to learn what Google Ads were. I had to learn how to communicate and get the skill of making someone want my system. I had to learn how to we had something called audio generator. You weren't doing videos and putting them on pages in those days. You made these audios. I had to buy the best of equipment, right? I had to get my first Blue Snowball microphone. And then I had to buy the software that allowed me to edit because I didn't have a Mac back then. I was doing it with PCs. I had to get this software for editing it. So by the time it was time for me to present value, I could do it better than anybody else. Selling was literally byproduct, which we'll get to. But the first standard is you never discuss price until you discuss the value. You discuss the value after you know what you have. You cannot discuss what you have and make it valuable if you don't know it. If you don't know it. Yeah, you got membership sites, right? If that's all you know, no wonder you can't sell it. No wonder everybody that signs up with you only wants to sign up at the entry level to put their foot in the water or a free account. Don't deviate from it. You learn shortcuts, they just don't work. Could you imagine, ladies? You meet a guy, you don't know what their age is, you don't know where they live, if they have a job, if they have a car. You just ran into them. And there's no value offered in your direction. They just want to know if you would go home and sleep with them. Isn't that bizarre and out of place and out of sync? Isn't it a bit weird? Why can't we, ladies, of all the people in the industry, you should be better at it than men. You have standards that you don't deviate from under any circumstances. Why is it that we just click and say yes? Why is it someone tells us we don't have to sell, we just do? I'm telling you, for everyone here, you can do this stuff, but you have to become a person that has resolve, right? You have to have resolve and say, I'm not deviating. If someone says to me, and this has happened to me before, all right, what have you got? You got 2 minutes. Let me save you the 2 minutes. What I have is so valuable, I'm not going to cheapen it by trying to give it to you in 2 minutes. I'm not going to talk about price and what I have in 2 minutes because I can't present value in that picture, in that amount of time. So don't discuss price until you discuss value. And you can't discuss value until you know what you have. You really can't even know what you have until you know who you are. That's why I want you to watch last night's webinar, last night's live YouTube live. We old guys say a live YouTube. Okay. Anyway, number 2, what's the second standard? There needs to be a determiner. There needs to be the price determiner. What determines the price being small or large? Certainly isn't the number associated with the price. It certainly isn't the actual item that they're buying. What determines it? Watch this now. It's a spin-off of number 1. When you make value this big, and price this big, people always buy. I'm going to give you the opposite. When you make the most important thing you talk about is price, and you may have a hint of the value, people never buy. Get that one down. If you want to know why you've never been selling, because you've always led off with price. Well, it's only $500. Do you have $500? Because then you can blah, 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 blah. And then, so what am I getting again? Right? How many people have you had somebody say it to you? So what am I getting again? The reason they don't know is you didn't do a great job at it. Because the reason you didn't do a good job isn't because you can't speak. No, it's because you don't know what you have. You've never done your homework. You never went in and found out what you have. And trust me, this is not about Ingreso Cybernetico. It's about any company. I've learned years ago that you can do an excellent job with a horrible company because of who you are. Because you don't deviate from the standards. Don't tell me you haven't bought a product. You never bought a lemon of a car. Because someone presented the value to you. The determiner. You need to make sure you have the price determiner, and the only way to determine the price being small is to make value this big. Whoa, you guys see that? I almost fell. You make price this big. You make value this big and price this big. Now, the third part of it is The shrinking of the price cannot be done if you skip one or two. You have to shrink the price, but you can't shrink the price if you skip one and two and try to shrink it. It doesn't work that way. So watch how I use point number one, which is when to discuss price, and I use point number two, which is the price determiner. Watch how I shrink the price. I'm going to go ahead and sell you this phone. This is an iPhone. Let's just call it an iPhone 11 RX or something, whatever those things are. I don't really know the numbers, right? That's what this phone is. And with this phone, when you buy it, I have max capacity of a hard drive in it. I don't know what that is, guys. What is that, like a gigabyte? I mean, is that what is that, 500 gigabytes or something? I don't know. Whatever they are, I have it on this phone. You can buy this phone. It costs $1,500. But with this phone, when you buy it, at the end of your first year, we give you an offering to buy it back from you for $750. That's number one. Automatically, whatever condition it's in. Number two, the second thing we have is we throw in a 1-year Apple Care plan, which means if you drop it in the water, you run over it with your car, something happens, you could bring it to Apple Car, we'll try and fix it. If we can't fix it, we're going to replace it. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw in the standard earphones that you always get, but we're going to give you the latest version of Beats AirPods. Then we're going to give you the standard AirPods. And we're not just done with that. We're going to go another step further. We want you to know that we're going to give you 4 cases, right? Top of the line cases that we actually promote here at Apple. You can find them on our website, but they're perfect for travel, for different clothing outfits, whether you're male or female. They're good for sporting, and we're going to do that as well. Now, the real big kicker we're going to give you for this phone is it's going to come with a 1-year plan to the provider of your choice. Your mobile provider of choice will give you that. If it's T-Mobile, AT&T, we're going to give that to you. This phone is just $1,500. As I told you, at the end of 1 year, we buy it back. But we didn't tell you this. When we buy it back, we give you another one. That's what we're doing. Now, if you guys didn't notice what I just did, if I just tell you the phone costs $15, you're like, whoa, the price is this big and the value is this big. Did you guys watch what I did? I walked you through the value, the Beats, the AirPods, the replacement, Apple Care, a brand new phone at the end of 1 year. You give me $750 and a new phone at the end of the year, right? I just now made the value this big, which made $1,500 seem like it's nothing. The last part of the value is you can do this today, and we'll allow you to do it in 3 payments. You can do $500 now, $500 next month, $500 a month after, but you can have the phone today. Now, when you make value like that, it's a no-brainer. Everybody's getting it. What you didn't know, when the person's telling you you don't have to sell or you don't have to prospect, you don't have to recruit, they're cheating you out of the experience of what real business is all about. You provide service or products in exchange for money. And if you're not selling that, what have you got? Shrinking the price. Don't deviate from it. Do not go to any other steps or try to close a sale unless you've done that. And you can know you're doing a great job at it. You get to find out. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So, now, number 4, closing becomes the byproduct of doing 1, 2, and 3. Closing becomes the byproduct. You see, at this point, the person starts trying to close themselves. You might be thinking, Dwayne, well, how do they do that? Here's how that works. Hey, so I can get this today? That's those guys. They're doing a trial close. You don't have to do a trial close. So I can get this today? Or they say, let me see if I understand this right. You're telling me that I get a brand new phone at the end of the year and you're giving me $750 for the old one? When they do that, trust me, these signs are the byproduct that you've done your job. It's interesting, when I talk to some of you about I'm trying to get somebody in, can you help them out? I already know you didn't do it. You didn't tell them that whenever someone signs up with them, they get 100% of it. They only have to pass up the second person and the fifth, but other than that, they get 100% of all of it. Right? You didn't tell them they don't have to pay for an autoresponder anywhere else. Hey, if you don't want to become a techie and build your own pages, guess what they do at this one? Right? You just submit what you want. They'll build your page for you. Some of you can't, the reason you can't get anybody, you think, you really believe that you have a problem. You don't. You just have been cheated for the last few years to thinking that not selling is the way you do it. You just want the money to magically happen because you see people posting lies. You see people posting, they did nothing. They didn't recruit anybody. They just made $250,000 for nothing. Yeah, they've been emailing you all this time. Interesting, wouldn't you say? I think that most of all, each of you tonight can see there's been a big gaping hole in everything you've been doing when it comes to growing your business and making money online, making money from home. You know, with more than 22 million Americans at home looking for work, looking for a way to make it online, they're never going to trust. Now, these people from the corporate world, they're not going to trust make money for doing nothing. They know better in the world they come from. They know better. They know it's a lie. You don't because you've been drinking the Kool-Aid for so long, you kind of believe it. Well, so-and-so did it. They said if I buy their page and I use their marketing system, it's just going to automatically sign people up for me. Some of you are disappointed because the page you have doesn't magically sign people up. Isn't it interesting? That's no different than me putting a sign out saying I'm looking for a significant other. I'm looking for a girlfriend, right? And I want my sign to sign them up so they become my girlfriend. You have to go to work. You have to know people. Isn't it interesting? The many of you who have joined us, you've done it because I've engaged with you. I didn't throw a price at you. I didn't throw numbers or signs or special pages. I wanted to know you. I know where you work. I know who you are. I know what state you live in or what country you live in. Because I learned from the old guys. I learned that there is no magic. You have to go to work. I learned that. I learned exactly what your name is. I learned what kind of tragedies you've had in this industry over the last couple of years or what kind of successes. I may learn how you're marketing, how you're growing your leads. I learned that because you deserve the respect of me knowing something about you before I just throw things at you. How dare you do the equivalent of asking someone to be your woman or your man without knowing anything about them? How dare you show that lack of respect of asking somebody to join your team and you say, look, I'll do it. I don't want to know them. I don't want to talk to them. I just want them to pay money. Well, good luck in that world you live in. If you want to be successful with this stuff, you just spent 5 to 7 weeks at home and you didn't even learn the skills needed to do it. Instead, you're still looking, you're searching, surfing the web day after day, looking for the shortcut. I'm here to tell you, you deserve better. Do something about it. Closing will become the byproduct. The person now, it's going to be a matter of what level they join at in your company when you use this model. I call it value proposition standards. I just don't believe in deviating from them. Some of you get angry from me. Hey, Dwayne, so what's it going to cost if I do this? To do what? What would you get in it? You don't even know what you're getting. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted. Let me see if you understand what I'm saying and you know without a doubt, you're ready to learn this stuff. By the way, this is not the last training. This is just the first week of trainings. I want each of you to learn it. I want you to master the art. I want you to master what it takes so that no matter what company you go with, you're successful. I don't care if you do it here. I want you to, but if you don't, I don't care. See, I spent the last 15 years building up my businesses. If you don't join, that won't take it away because I still have the skills. Don't you deserve to have the same thing? You should have the skills so you can also be successful no matter where you go. Now, how do you know when you've done a good job at this value proposition? How can you know, right? Well, I'm going to tell you how you know. The first way is when the value proposition was done based on the needs of the prospect. See, this doesn't work if you just talk at someone. You have to engage with them. I don't personally, with the exception of webinars, I don't want to talk to someone about their business until I know about them. For those of you that know me, I've asked you, so tell me, so what do you do now? Where do you work? How are things going for you? Right? How long have you been there? I want to know. So what is it you want to do in 2020? 4 months are already gone. At the end of the year, in a perfect world, where do you see yourself? What is it you want? So by the time I start presenting value, I can build that bridge. You said you want to successfully be at least over $5,000 a month by the end of the year. That's very much possible, right? One thing that's really cool about it is one thing that we like here is that with the team that you get to start building as you grow these skills, 20% of the work gets passed up to you. But it's not just that. As you use the software, you don't really have to go and work your AWeber. The email messages you got from me, you got from this system. They work. You don't have to pay that. That's already going to be in your system. You can have a membership site, right? You could literally easily find 100 people, right, who will pay $40 a month for the value that you have. You follow the training, you can learn how to create your own membership site. It may be that you already had some plans for a long-term retirement that's based on something where people are automatically paying for it. Well, do you know you can white label the autoresponder? And now, like AWeber, like others, you can have people paying you every month, $25 to $49 a month to use your autoresponder. This company builds it for you on your server, and it's all yours. There's a sky's the limit, but you can't do that if you skip steps 1, 2, and 3. You know you've done a great job if you did it based on their needs. I determine where to put the bulk of my focus of the value based on that human being. The same value doesn't fit all. Same value is valuable, but some things are more valuable to others than others. For some, it's so important not to have to keep joining many things. For others, it's absolutely essential. It's essential that they can do it while they work their other job where they've already have 20 years invested. Everybody's got different things, so now you have to put a lot of value on how much you can do in little time. You have to build it based on that. So that's how you know when you've done a good job, when it's based on the needs of the prospect and their lifestyle and what they want. And you can't do that unless you know them. You have to do your homework. I said you got to know you. You got to know your products, but to present value properly, you got to know the person too. How else can you know? You can know you've done a great job. Let me go ahead and skip down through something here. When there's no complaints about the price from the prospect. When you have no complaints about the price from the prospect. Instead of complaints, they just want to seek out the information of when, how, and soon they can get started. How else? When you're generally concerned about the actual prospect and their needs, in which we talked about. So, I want to get to this part that's most important as we get down towards the end. I want you guys to bear with me and stay with me, okay? I've been experiencing this thing with sinus headaches and stuff. And I spoke with my doctor already, and I may have to go in tomorrow if my fever is above 110. I've been taking Advil, so I don't know what it gets up to. I got to check it out to make sure I don't have this thing because I want to be with you the rest of the week. And my eyeballs have been burning the more I try to focus in on the camera and talk to you. Okay, let's take a look at the closing formula. If you're ready, type in number 3. We're going to look at the closing formula. What's it look like? Number 3. Let me go ahead and see if you're typing it in. I'm going to type in the number 3 myself. Let me see. Who else is with me? Closing formula. Here we go. 10 times the value. 10 times the value will equal a close. So if something costs $30, you want to present $300 worth of value. Most companies, you can do that based on the many things that they will offer. You know, One of the things I like to do to make sure the value is presented is that's why I like to talk about the smart products. I like to talk about the ability to communicate and grow a list. Some of you guys want to get a list, which is fine. You want to buy a list, but you can grow one organically. And it takes time, which some of you don't have, so I get that. But you can do this. 10 times the value equal to the close. 10 times the value, just like I did with the phone. I built up it to be worth way more than $1,500. The way to ensure the close, if I'm going to sell something for 15, I better show worth 15K, right? That's how this works. Everybody here is capable. And you might be wondering, well, I mean, geez, no one's ever told me this stuff. I mean, I've heard it before, but not like this. How do I? You can do this. You could do this. I just ask you to. If you need to watch it over and over, do it. But I recommend you take notes when you watch it over. Because you want to get used to not being a robot and a drone that just talks at people, but engage with them. I want to remind you that tomorrow night, come out, we'll be talking about team building, how to grow a team so you can develop them. When development will be Thursday night. I don't want you to miss this. I want you to be prepared. And I'm not going to prepare you with a quick dangling fake thing out there. I want you to know if you're going to create fortunes and have it last, you're going to work at it. If you don't want to work at it, keep doing what you've been doing. Pay all of your life savings towards chasing people that tell you you don't have to work. Spend all your life savings for people that tell you you don't have to do anything. They don't want you or your work. They just want your money. Keep giving it to them. Or you can come learn how to do it the right way. This is Dwayne Golden. I'm going to take my time and chat. I don't feel so well, so I'm going to get to it right now. I will chat with you and see what questions or comments you have. Ask as many questions you have. I'll stay here until you're done, and then I will sign out. God bless you already in less than an hour, guys. Look what we did. Pow, bam, boom. Got this. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chats. 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't miss it. Let's see exactly what you're saying here, and I will respond to each one.